Thank you so much for taking time to watch the replay of my webinar, How to Launch from a Bad Year to Your Best Year. I wanted to give you a little heads up before this begins. I actually hit the record button a little bit late. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything, just maybe me talking just a tad. But we're going to jump right in here. But just wanted to let you know that also there's going to be a giveaway at the end of this. Just stay tuned, hang in there. There's some great content ahead. Thank you so much. Take care. Be brave. Limited amount of resources and time at our disposal, and it's important that we use those limited resources not on chasing the wind, not on feeling full of regret and shame, not on living carrying around unnecessary weights, but we have to develop a structure in our life where we can focus that limited energy into the mission that we were created and made and put here to do. So I'm hopeful that this next few minutes will push us in that direction. But you know, my passion is, as I've explored these past few months and over 2015, I really came to realize in my own life that my passion is to inspire and challenge people. And it's something I've done all my life, but it's something I've just now articulated. It's to inspire and challenge people to unleash their greatest contribution on the world. And sometimes when we're talking about this bad year, most of us have probably had a bad year. And if you've signed up for this call, you probably have. And maybe it was 2015. If it was, I know it's fresh on your mind. Maybe it was in years past. But we've all had a bad year. And what a bad year does is it tempts us to give up. And it's tempting for us to just throw in the towel and say, you know what, I give up. This is just too hard. But the problem with that is that it robs not only you, it robs you of joy and happiness, but the real big picture is that it robs the world. It robs me and your fellow citizens of this world of your greatest contribution. So why am I passionate about you going from a bad year to your best year? Is it just because I want you to be happy? Yes. It's because I want you to feel fulfilled. Yes. But it's because the world needs you to unleash the power of your greatest contribution, because we need you. If you've looked at the news, if you've read any articles lately, if you've been alive, if you're breathing right now, you know that our world is in a dire situation, that we are desperate for people who are leaders, desperate for people who are full of heart and full of servant-hearted humility. We need those kind of people to make their contribution, because God knows that there are so many people who are using that God-gifted talent that He has put inside of them to do very evil things. And as Martin Luther King says, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's basically saying, he basically said that when good men stay silent, that's the greatest tragedy. So I don't want your bad year to make you stay silent. And that's what I want to encourage you with, that your bad year doesn't have to be the end. It is probably the end of something, but it is the beginning. This year is a new beginning. Your 2016 could be, and I believe it will be, your best year yet. So I want to make you aware, though, at the end of this call, I'm going to do a special giveaway, and I want you to stay tuned. And it's kind of a little bit of a carrot to lay out there, because I want you to be here the whole time. All right. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. I don't want to take up a bunch of your time. I know that it's valuable, but I think that there are some important things to share all the way through this call. And I want you to stay to the end. So I've got something to give away to you. So stick around. I want you to have that. A little bit more just about me. I hate to talk about myself, but I am a writer. I'm a coach, a leadership coach and consultant. And I wrote a book last year called Mastering the Art of Trust, Unlocking the Power of Your Greatest Contribution. And I'm I launched also last year uh, an online school called a School of Leadership called the University of Influence. And really this webinar today is under that umbrella, the University of Influence. And I really want to help my students learn tactical leadership principles that help them develop rock solid character, because that's a huge thing. And I want them to be always increasing in confidence, because confidence is an ability that can be cultivated, and it's so important. So I think that this is what we're doing here, is I'm helping you gain confidence. But you know, in 2001, just a little story about me. I had a friend who made some really terrible choices. It actually landed him in prison, and it was a very bad deal. But the problem was that I worked really closely with him at the time. I didn't have any idea that things were going on under the surface. And when stuff came out, it was really devastating to me. And it actually rocked my whole world. I had built my life on this reputation of being someone who was honest and authentic and dependable, someone who loved the Lord, and someone who wanted to do my best to please him and to serve others. And in the fallout of all of this, my reputation was called into question because I was so near to this guy. And man, I struggled with it. And because I worked with this guy, I lost my job too. Okay. And not only did I lose my job, I worked with him in his business, but then I also worked with him at the church that I was at. And I lost that position too, or I actually chose to leave that position. But because of that, I lost friends, I lost ministry partners. Many of my relationships were all of a sudden gone from my life. And then other important relations became strained, like my family, my serious girlfriend at the time. They were strained because of this situation. And if I look back on 2001, it was a bad year. You know, it was a bad year where I felt like, man, I thought I was doing all the right things, right? And maybe you feel that way. You just feel like you've been doing all the right things, and you are like just getting railroaded. And last year just took you by surprise. And I was in that place. I was really frustrated. And I was just asking God, why is this going on? What is going to happen? So at the beginning of 2002, I began to just kind of think, okay, what kind of change needs to happen? What am I going to do to change this? What am I going to do to turn this around? And actually, that was the reason that I ended up driving. I loaded up everything I had in my little 92 Honda Accord. And those were the days, right? When you just had like, you could fit everything in one car, right? I have a wife and 3 kids now. I mean, we couldn't fit like our shoes in that little Honda Accord right now. But it was a neat time. But I loaded up everything that I owned in that little Honda, and I took off and I went to Texas. And really, that was the beginning of a healing and restoration, and the beginning of a string of great years. But what I learned from that is that a bad year doesn't automatically signify a bad life. And right now, I don't know how you're feeling, but sometimes it feels at the end of a bad year that, man, is my life just messed up? Is this the way it's going to be forever? And I promise you, it's not the way it has to be forever. Now, you do have to come to terms with the fact that it could remain this way for a long time if you don't do something about it. And you may have seen this in leading up to this webinar, but one of the things that I said was, you don't accidentally recover from a bad year. And what I meant by that was the patterns in your life, the things that were happening, the relationships that were going bad, those things that were occurring, you don't recover from that emotionally, relationally, financially, physically. You don't recover from those things by accidentally happening upon a solution. You recover from those things by a strategy. And, my recovery was a little bit longer because I didn't have a strategy. And I did happen to make some good choices based upon wise counsel. And God took me and built me into better and best and great years. But it took time. But I want to help you. From my experience, I've learned some things, and I want to help you go from a bad year to your best year, like one right after the other. And I think you can do that. So here's what I want to communicate to you today. And if you have some notes, I'd love for you to take a pen out and write that down. For me, there's something really powerful about a pen in my hand and paper and writing it down. I would encourage you to do that. Or if you want to just take notes on your computer or your phone, that'd be great too. But here's the one simple action that will create a huge wave of momentum for you and for me in 2016 is this. You have to learn to celebrate 2015. You have to find the reasons of the things in 2015 to celebrate. You have to look back and you have to find the things that you're grateful for, because there are probably plenty of things that you feel like you're not grateful for and you're frustrated with, or it was something you want to put out of your mind altogether. But forget all that right now, okay? That's over. It's done. What you have to do is dig and mine your 2015 for the things that you are grateful for. Because gratitude gives us confidence, and confidence is what gives us momentum. So what you need right now is confidence. After a bad year, believe me, it feels like confidence has been sucked out of you. It feels like confidence is the last thing that you can think about having. But what you need to is begin to build up that storage of confidence again. And the way to do that is with gratitude. So I want you to maybe even just right now, just list down a couple of things. That's honestly why I put that on the chat earlier. And Mark, I did see your comment there for a new job after being laid off. And for Julie's improving mental health. That's huge. But when you think about those things, take that for example, Mark. When you think about those things that you're grateful for, don't you feel a surge of confidence? Like, okay, if there is hope in these areas, if there's change in these areas, if there is a movement forward, then there can be in other areas. And that's why gratitude is so powerful. That's why it's such a powerful momentum building tool, because it gives you confidence. So I also want to help you find those hidden successes. And sometimes when you've had a rough year, it's hard to see the successes, but there are some. Number one is this: you made it out alive. All right. You are sitting here breathing, living in 2016, barring the fact that like this is some kind of zombie apocalypse and you're like not breathing, but you're like here kind of, I don't know, but no, you are here. You made it. That's something to celebrate. Maybe you just need to celebrate that it's over. All right. That is a success. You made it through without losing your life. Right. And you have to learn to celebrate the opportunities that you have now to learn and grow from the things that you experience, even the negative things. This whole thing that we do called life is a school. It is a school where we learn how to live, how to walk, and how to do and fulfill this purpose God has put in us. So in some ways, you have to look at it and turn it around and see, you know what? Last year was tough, but maybe it was just a tough semester in the school of life. And what are the lessons that I learned? And what are the lessons I need to learn and need to draw from so that I don't repeat another year like that? And that's a vital thing for us to embrace and to internalize. So the other thing I want to talk to you about is how to use your failures as fuel for progress in the new year. And I just have a few things I want to list out. And you know what? I'll send out these notes afterwards so you can have the full thing. But just write down the ones that kind of stick with you.